Darius Davis entering his first full season here with the Dogs. We caught up with him back in the spring. Now we dive into his defensive line room here in fall camp. All right, I know scrimmage number one, not going to be anything from perfect, and you as coaches, there's going to be a lot to point at and get better. Sure. But biggest positives that your group can take away from today for the first time truly hitting with the full pad zone.
Yeah, I think the thing I took back is that one thing we've been able to show all practice and so far during fall camp is just our physicality. I think we get in those situations where, okay, it's 1 yard to go, it's 2 yards to go. What are we going to do? What's going to show up in that physicality? That's the thing I pride myself on in teaching the D-line is we got to be dogs. Our name's the dog. So the first thing of that is we got to be physical. We got to show that grit, you know. And so that's what I talk about in our D-line room is being gritty. And so we showed a lot of grit in a lot of situations. We might have bent a little bit, but we didn't break.
In terms of building that depth, you know how important it is in terms of that D-line room. You just can't have 4, 5, 6 guys. It's got to be extremely deep when you rotate, especially in this league. Yeah. I know you're probably not anywhere near from a finished product and knowing what your rotations are going to be, but in terms of the depth within the room, what gives you most optimism as you go throughout camp that's starting to get developed?
I'm thinking that the thing we have that when we went to the offseason and try to attack some of the positions that we needed is versatility. And so I think you just talk to guys like Cam and you talk to guys like Jake. They're versatile. They can play inside. They can play outside. We can play those guys in multiple positions. And then you have guys like Byrne who can play both sides, inside 3 technique and play nose, and Noah as well, and K. Lou and some of those guys, and Caden, he's back from injury. So that adds versatility, and that's important. So if somebody goes down or something happens, knock on wood, or someone's tired, now we can bring somebody in. Hey, I'm bringing the best player. I might not bring the same position, but I can bring the best player because they do multiple things. So I think that's the biggest thing is that I'm learning what their strengths are and what their weaknesses is. And my job is to make sure to set them up for success. So I don't put them in situations that they're not comfortable with. And so that's what I'm trying to learn right now and keep developing and just sharpen that iron with the O-line. And, them doing their job up front is going to help us be better.
How much it's always great when you have great players because that makes it much easier when you're a coach. But when you have players who have been a part of you in your system before in terms of Byrne, how much, I don't want to say easy is a great term to use, but in terms of at least having almost an extra coach within that room that is very familiar with you when everyone's just trying to get to know you here for the first year.
Yeah, I think that's very important. When it comes to Byrne, that's easy. He's a different cat, but I love him though. But it makes it a lot easier because he can now relay, without me saying anything, he knows what I'm thinking. So even the day after the scrimmage, he's like, oh, boy, we're going to be in for it because they know – he knows what the expectations are. He knows what it's supposed to look like. I know what it's supposed to be like. He knows what it's supposed to look like. So from being with me in the past, and he can be, that guy in the locker room like, hey, this is what Coach Davis means. They might take something a certain way, but, he could be that second voice and be like, no, Coach Davis probably means this. Just being around him so long, you know what I mean? So it makes it easier for me to have someone in the locker room that, knows how I think a little bit more, knows how I do things, and he knows what the expectations are. So he can relay that not just from me in my voice, but he can relay it in his own voice in his own way.
Can you describe the mean streak that Donnie can have and how important it is for him to just be able to carry that onto the field? Because Coach Prone talks about being violent in terms of your attitude and everything else on the field. How does Donnie really exemplify that?
Donnie's just a hard-nosed guy. I'm born in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He's an Oklahoma guy too, so that's what we're all about. Hard work, physical, and he attacks everything with the same mindset. That's what's unique about him. So the way he attacks stuff on the field that you see him play, he's the same way off the field. If he messes up off the field, he's going to be upset at himself. He's not. People think he might be upset at them, but it's not. He's upset at himself because he holds himself at a high standard. And so for a guy like that, it's just about he's a no-nonsense guy. Let's work. When it's time to have fun, it's time to have fun. But when it's time to work, Donnie wants to work and put in the work because he wants to be great and he wants me to push him. He wants me to get on him. And so I appreciate that because I know I can push him as hard as I can, and I know I'm not going too far. He wants it more and more every day. And so those are things that I love about him is that I can push him as hard as I want, and he's going to react in the right way, and he's going to go out there and take it out on people on the field.
You talked about versatility within your room. There's multiple guys you can point to that have played football here at Southern. There's guys who have played football elsewhere. There are, of course, young guys who are coming in trying to work their way up. What do you enjoy about the dynamics of your room of having a good mixture and having some veteran guys, having those guys in the middle, and having some younger guys that you're trying to tutor along as well?
Yeah, it's great. Definitely because we got a lot of vets, but at the same time, we got guys that are here that's never played this level, you know, so or even this conference. Even when coming from RMU, we played this level, but it's a whole different monster. At RMU, I got a little bit of carryover from playing Youngstown and stuff like that, but you don't really truly know week after week after week how it is. So having that room and being versatile and having guys in there that, you know, hey, when I say I bring in older guys and I say, hey, I need this done, I know they're going to get it done. You know, having younger guys to be able to look up to those guys, like you bring up guys like Donnie, he takes Tronzo under his wing. You know what I mean? You got guys like K. Lou, who's new to the room, who's a young redshirt freshman. Well, he's learning from Bernie, you know, who's a senior. You know, and so you got those guys. You got guys like Ryan, who's learning from Pay. You know, so that's the important thing. I want those guys, because I always tell these guys, it's their room. So however good you want to be, it's going to be determined by you guys. Nothing I say is going to matter at the end of the day because I can't get I can't get out there on the field, right? So it's about those guys that has high expectations for themselves and be able to just bleed down the whole depth chart of the younger guys and the guys that are coming in. And the thing I love about this group, everybody that's came in, there's no separation. It's like they've been here for 5 years. And so those are the guys, when I go out to recruit and Coach Hill, the biggest thing that matters to us is how do they mesh with our group? You know what I mean? What type of guys are they off the field? And so we were able to find high character guys like Noah and some of those guys that we recruited, and now they just blend in it's like oil. It's not like oil and water. It's like, hey, I just add more flavor to the recipe, you know. And those guys are just keep adding and keep growing together. And it's amazing to see how close they are already, and we haven't even been that far in the camp.